This podcast is presented by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Welcome to Shift into Better Health, the National Diabetes Prevention Program's podcast series for lifestyle change program enrollees. For folks who want to improve their health, have more energy, and prevent type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. The Lifestyle Change Program is proven to work. I'm your host, Captain Jack, radio personality and former professional truck driver. Each episode in this series is led by drivers for drivers and will cover a topic from the National Diabetes Prevention Program's Lifestyle Change Program. We'll talk about how to tackle challenges professional drivers face so you'll arrive at your destination a healthier you, faster and easier. In our last episode, we learned about stress, how to recognize it, how to deal with it in a healthy way. Today, we're going to focus on how to brighten your outlook. And we're going to talk about what exactly we mean by that in a minute. But first, let me introduce my guest for this conversation. Nori Ellis is a professional health coach with a background in wellness and lifestyle management. She's written numerous articles sharing tips to help drivers improve their health. Also joining me was Daryl Taylor. He's a Dallas-based professional driver as well as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army and a motorcycle enthusiast. As a successful lifestyle change program participant, he's on the road to better health and has some unique strategies for dealing with unhealthy thoughts. Believe it or not, brightening your outlook and taking charge of your thoughts can help you prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Now, what do we mean by brightening your outlook? The Lifestyle Change Program materials talk about having a positive outlook. You can think of it as the difference between looking at a cup being half full instead of half empty. Let's break this down further and look at the difference between thoughts that are unhealthy and thoughts that are helpful. An unhealthy thought might be, I feel like I'm not going to make it through this 10-hour drive. A helpful thought would be, this is a challenging job. I've been driving for 5 days and I only have 4 to go. Then I'll be home with my family. So, let's talk about unhealthy thoughts. We've all had them, right? I found that unhealthy thoughts have sometimes gotten in the way of my eating and fitness goals. Nori, what are some other types of unhealthy thoughts?
There's numerous unhealthy thoughts that you can have, and that may be self-labeling. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. That was the dumbest thing I could have done. Those are words that we kind of just inadvertently blurt out, but they have lasting effects because it becomes the story that we're telling ourselves. Then next comes the doom and gloom where, you assume the worst for everything. You ignore what is good and you tend to start to focus on just what's bad. It wasn't my fault, it was their fault. And if they would have my delivery ready when I got there, then I wouldn't be late. You create a whole storyline before you even get to a location, or when you're on the road, you can already start the story of, I know my dispatcher's going to call me, and when they call me, they're going to tell me something's wrong. And then when I get to the delivery, they're not going to have things ready, and then I'll probably get a flat.
Drivers experience a lot of challenges like this, and the road doesn't change. How can drivers adapt and shift this type of thinking into a more helpful or positive way?
You can reverse that whole conversation. Know that your load may or may not be ready. It's okay. Either way, this is my job, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Well, negative thoughts get in the way of our health and wellness. We tend to think that, I'm not going to lose weight anyway, so I might as well just eat this pie, or I might as well just eat this bag of chips.
Wow, I can relate. I know I experience unhealthy thoughts from time to time. If you're carrying a lot of stress or aren't getting enough sleep, you're more likely to think unhealthy thoughts. That's why creating an action plan and completing the program was useful to me. What are some other tips for drivers?
Be sure to identify the unhealthy thoughts that you're having and the situations that may be causing you to think that way. Sometimes it's good to just picture like a big red sign, like, stop, no, let me think differently. I know I can change my thinking. And drivers can be more aware of their unhealthy thoughts by creating gratitude lists.
I've heard of guys jotting down lists in their phone or on sticky notes, just little reminders of things they're thankful for. Wife, kids, their family's health, growing that nest egg, even that the sun is shining that day. I try to be around family, friends, and other guys who have that positive outlook. What tips do you have for drivers when they're not on the road?
Surround yourself with your family and friends. It's never good to come off the road after months or weeks of being away and then isolate. share them with another driver might help give some insight as well. If you have a driver that is always full of humor or positive feedback, those are the people that you want to reach out to when you're having those negative thoughts. Drivers have this unique connection of communicating with each other. So when those negative thoughts stir up, I would suggest, hey, reach out, see who's out to chat with.
It's okay to be down, but always being down, people start not wanting to be around you. And then you start alienating yourself. You got to keep everything light and hearty. You got to keep a positive attitude. You got to laugh a little. Because if you don't laugh, then at that point, you have problems. And you don't want to have those problems. You're already gone away from your families, days at a time, weeks at a time, some people months at a time.
I'm also wondering about sleep and exercise. How unhealthy thoughts can change how you eat, exercise, sleep, or take care of yourself.
I don't know what chemical imbalances it does in your body, but it makes you not want to do anything. You don't go work out when you said you was going to work out, or it'll make you tired and you just don't want to do anything. The trigger is if you're not getting enough sleep, then you can wake up irritable. Because a lot of people, number one thing, if you don't have sleep, you're not a good person. It's like my 2-year-old daughter. Wake her up out of her sleep, and she's very irritable. She don't like me, So it'd be the same thing with anybody else, So you must get enough sleep.
Once I began making small changes, that's when I felt healthier and could celebrate with my wife and grandsons. Daryl, my friend, what do you and your family do to reward your progress?
How I celebrate success, at the end of the week, because usually I'm out for a week at a time. I come back home, I jump on the scale. That scale got some pounds down. Hey, I'm doing the shimmy. And it's good because then my wife prays and say, oh, look at you, Slim.
One thing is to think about why you're doing what you're doing. Most of us do what we do for the people that we love and care about in our families.
Thanks so much, Nori, for all your insights. When I used to feel stressed out or feel down in the dumps because of the weather or a traffic jam or whatever the case may be, I'd pull over, take a break, take a beat, and just hang out for a little bit, collect my thoughts, think about home and where I'm heading and how great it's going to be when I get there, and get back on the road and everything is fine. Daryl, how do you deal with unhealthy thoughts?
I do listen to the comedy channel and get my laugh on, so that actually works. My advice to other drivers trying to shift their outlook would be to take one day at a time, plan, don't let stress consume you for the day. Find a hobby that you can do while you're away from your family. Find a happy place, find a radio station, find something that you would enjoy doing while you're not driving so you can take your mind off the stress.
I'm with you, Daryl. Unhealthy thinking can really throw things off track.
Having a negative attitude and a negative outlook on everything it'll push family away. It'll push people away. I'm a positive person. I believe that's the core of my being. And the one thing about me, why I'm so positive, I surround myself with positive thinking people and like-minded people. It's the old adage says, birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely. Well, that's all for today. I'd like to thank Nori and Daryl for joining us and sharing their tips and experiences. Next time, we'll chat about overcoming overeating. To prevent negative, unhealthy thoughts and have more helpful ones, think about finding an extra 20 minutes of sleep or jot down 3 things you're grateful for. Remember that America needs you healthy. Your family needs you healthy. You need to be healthy to continue living this trucking life. We're on this journey together, every mile of the way. For the most accurate health information, visit cdc.gov or call 1-800-CDC-INFO.